how would you like to make the first million? And today we have with us a serial entrepreneur. His name is Dom Levesque. And after 15 years of corporate, successful career in the HR industry, now he sparked his entrepreneur's gene and has opened several companies, right? And one of them, he's a partner and the CEO. So tell us, Dominic, what are the 5 steps that you recommend to entrepreneurs in order to make the first million?
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
Hey, thanks, Harry. Great to be here. So here are the five. In my opinion, the 5 steps are relatively simple. The first one is to make sure you have a deep understanding of your market. If you're about to do something, you need to know what you're getting yourselves into. So I always start with the first step is make sure you have a deep understanding of your market. After that, you need to have a product that creates value. That's step number 2. You need to figure out a way that your product truly creates value for community, for other organizations, for the world, for people. It needs to create value. The third one, you cannot do this alone. So you need to surround yourself with exceptional people. If you're going to do something, you need to be surrounded by experts. Sometimes they're employees, sometimes they're partners, sometimes they're collaborators, but everybody you need to be surrounded by experts, exceptional people. Then you need to have an exceptional career culture, right? Because if you think about it, people and culture is very different. You can have exceptional people, but if they don't work together, it's not going to work. So you need to have exceptional cultures that are actually joined through purpose and vision, right? So they need to match with the purpose, the vision of the company, and they need to work together through an exceptional culture of collaboration and teamwork. And then the last one I would say it's relentless curiosity. Relentless curiosity means keep learning, never think you know, keep watching, keep going through. Don't think you have all of this figured out because you don't. So make sure you're relentlessly curious and keep learning. These are my 5 steps, Harry.
Transition from corporate to entrepreneur. So Dom, let me ask you a question. After you have 15 years working in HR in one, is my understanding the largest firm, one of the largest firms in the world, and then you have C-level positions, right? So they pay you a lot of money, this company. They make you really happy, yeah? Because they make sure that they want to keep the talent, yeah? And then you decide that was a good idea to throw everything out to start your own business. Do you have any idea how risky is that? I'm asking you the question because a lot of our listeners, they're exactly in your same situation. They are from corporate and they are like trapped in this golden cage, and the biggest fear is one day to wake up and the boss is gonna tell them you're fired, and they don't know they don't know what to do, they don't know how to do anything. So where do you find the courage, okay, to throw everything out and do the transition from corporate to become an entrepreneur that people might think that is something easy, but it have the challenges because in corporate you can tell to everybody this is not my job. You have a job description. When somebody said, Don, can you do this? Can you do this? You can tell to the person, look, I'm sorry, this is not my job description, so somebody else need to do this job. Well, when you become an entrepreneur, everything is your job. So tell me about it, the good, the bad, or the ugly of the transition from corporate to entrepreneur.
That's an excellent question, Harry. So here's my thought, and there are a few things, right? So I did 18 years in a beautiful large company. I grew up within the ranks. I had a great role. I had a great career, collaborated with amazing people. But there was always that side of me that I was the entrepreneur guy within the big multinational. I was that kid that wanted to break things and build them back up better. I was always the guy there was something that was broken. They gave it to Dom, and Dom went in to try to fix it. I'm a guy that likes to build. I was always a builder, trying to build team, build culture, build systems, build models. That's why I wrote 2 books, right, that you can see on the screen. So I like to build stuff. I like to take complicated things and make them simple. And I always had in me that entrepreneur mindset of, I knew I wanted to do my own things, right? I didn't know exactly when, exactly how, but after 18 years, I realized timing was right. It was time for me to go and do my own stuff. So I left without knowing exactly what I was going to do. I'm like, okay, you know what? I knew I wanted to continue in my field, but not exactly in what way. I knew I didn't want another big, large firm. I wanted to do my own things my own way. And then I took the summer off. I resigned in February-ish, finished in April, May, and then took the rest of the summer, spent time with my teenager. My daughter is incredible. Then I finalized the writing of my second book, worked on all of that for the summer, played a lot of golf, started my snowboard company because I always, with one of my best friends, we wanted to do that. So we launched our snowboard company.
I like to do it. I done it myself. It's amazing.
There you go. All right. So then when you come to Canada, we'll snowboard together. So,
oh, wow.
On our snowboards. So then we'll do that. And then, of course, after that, one of the guys I knew from my network, actually came to see me and said, you know what, Dom, my business needs to be transformed. I need to transform it. Would you like to, that's what you do. So would you like to become the CEO and become my partner and the co-founder of a new company? I'm like, all right, I'm in. So I got started in September, did the whole rebrand, and now NexWav was born in January. So to your question, it takes a whole lot of guts, but I was well surrounded. I had it in me. I had enough money to be safe because I didn't want to put any of my family at risk. That was really important, that they felt safe. And then all of that, you know what? Now it was ready to make the jump and have fun.
Fantastic. So we always recommend to the people here, listeners, to do it kind of gradually, right? You can start your own while you still have your corporate job, right? You can start something on the side, maybe on the weekends, try to find other clients, try to see if you like it to be an entrepreneur. Because, for example, I can tell. I mean, out of the 500 millionaires that we interview here, we can tell something. They have a gene there within themselves. It doesn't come from inheritance. Some entrepreneurs, they have born with this gene within themselves, and one day this spark shine, and they say, "This is it. I'm gonna do it my own company." But even when we are employees, no, because I'll have a very short career as an employee. To be honest with you, I work 5 years as a software developer and project manager, and also my another. Then I that was in Spain, and then I decided to go and live in London. But in London, when I went to London, already I'm coming with the ship. Even I was my first job was as a bartender in a pub in Euston Station. It doesn't exist anymore, this pub, in Britannia. So I was there, and and the first 2 years, they were paying me like it was £5.75 per hour, so it doesn't even reach six. So basically, every time I get my salary, I'm spending more than there is in rent. So my first business was in property in order to remove this overhead. So those 2 years I worked in a pub. The other 2 years I went to work in the Hilton as a room service attendant, but my business was renting rooms. So I went there and I was doing room service. Yeah. Parallel, I was on the weekends, and in the free time I was opening my renting room business, and I did learn a lot from the Hilton. In the hotel, everybody become my friends. So the reception, the people that cleans the room, everybody talked to me, and everybody taught me things that I usually very productive in my business. We managed to sell over 5 million. However, this group of skills, Dom, that you learn and in your career, that definitely they are key to your business. It came with another box with a lot of new things that you have to learn, especially if you're the CEO of the company, that you didn't even knew that you exist. You had to taking care of the account. You have to be taking care of the marketing. You have to be compliance and the law and a lot of things comes to your play that even some things you need to learn and you don't even like it. Yeah. So how you deal with these challenges? Because as a CEO of the company, it's not such a thing. Like I say, this is not my job. Everything is your job. So how you deal with when you have to learn something that you don't like it,
Yeah.
and when you
And
have to
that's
do something that you don't like it?
Yeah, and that's very true, huh? There's a lot of things I don't like. Like I'm not good with everything related to administration, processes, like structure and doing this paper for this government and this paper for this government. And this is
On the
like all
compliance,
the,
oh my God, it's so boring.
and I'm in the HR field, right? So we have a
Yeah.
lot of regulation, we have a
Oh
lot
my
of
God.
processes,
Look at
so
this.
like
Yeah.
privacy laws, all the laws in Quebec, and we have to respect all those things
Employee
are not.
law, you
Yeah,
name it.
yeah. So employment law, like that, these are not the things I'm the best at. I'm a business guy, right? I'm a salesperson. I'm a business guy. I'm an HR person. I love people. I love building things, but I'm not great with anything related to admin. So going back to what I said a bit earlier, it's often about being surrounded with exceptional people, but at the beginning, you can't. So you do it. So you gotta remember why you're doing it, why it's important. You still have to make it happen, and you need to accept that it's part of the chaos of building a business, right? So if anybody thinks building business is easy, like come to me, I'll talk to you about it, right? So it's smooth sailing, it's never something
You
that goes
describe
straight.
it perfectly, 100% a chaos. Yes.
Yeah, it's not a straight line. It
Yeah,
goes
yeah,
like this, and then you think things are good, and then they're not good like
yeah, yeah.
seconds after, and you need to fix it, and it's part of that. So you need to accept that chaos is part of the process,
Mm-hmm.
and you need to set your eyes on what you're trying to achieve. If you keep in mind what
Mm-hmm.
you're trying to achieve, then it gives purpose to these things that you don't really like to do that you still have to do anyway.
You
So
still you don't need to, because need to learn. The other day I have a conversation with an entrepreneur that was telling me, well, I don't like to do this. I said, look, even if you don't like to do it, we're talking about marketing, you need to learn a little bit. Even if you don't like it, you need to have a certain understanding. Otherwise, how are you going to employ people? How why you need to have a minimum understanding what that means, what is it for, and especially marketing. You cannot be in business and tell me no. Marketing sales. I don't want to learn. It will be boring. Well, if you like it or not, you need to have a deeper understanding, because when you bring in people to your organization, you need to have some foundation, so you know that what role the people gonna do, what they're gonna. You can give them some KPI, key performance indicators, something. But if you never sell yourself before, at least during the process, it's gonna be difficult. And the employee is not gonna respect you. They will tell you, these guys don't have any clue. So you know what? I'm gonna dance here, take my salary, not gonna do anything. So that's part of exactly, Dom, like you said, the chaos to be and right, the when to go through things that which is completely different with the corporate, right? Because in corporate you do what you like. If somebody come and tell you, look, you need to do this, you say, I'm sorry,
and
I
you have
don't
a
like
department
it,
for
this is
this,
not
right?
my job description, you go to that department, then we sort you out, this is not my problem, you know what I mean? So
And then you have a department for this and a department for that, right? And
exactly.
I told the guys that I used to work with, it's like how I'm like it's awesome, but at the same time I get to be the general counsel, VP of HR, VP of sales,
Mm-hmm.
VP of marketing,
Mm-hmm.
VP of finance, CEO, recruiter,
Mm-hmm.
right? I ended up having to wear all of these hats all at the same time, moving from one to the other.
Mm-hmm.
You learn a lot, right? Remember, the first
Uh,
step, as I talked about, was having a deep understanding of your market, but also having a deep of your understanding of your own business and the
mm-hmm.
processes and
Mm-hmm.
what's underneath, right? And that's what I had to learn. It wasn't easy, but it was so much fun. Because in the
Mm-hmm.
corporate world, it's a completely different reality.
So growing up and growing business, the business, you share with me that you guys, from last month, it was close to a quarter of a million, which is very, very impressive. And my question to you is growing on and scaling the team, because when you started, when you're 4 or 5, right? It's completely different ball game when my age, right? They are, we have like 6, give it or take, and but then 360. So I call it 360 employees. When we bring them to the organization, we tell them, look, here is place that we are a small team. I like the business like this, right? I have a business already with a lot of employees, so I know the headache. But anyway, so we have but when I say we are very few people, so here, whatever we have to do, we have to do it, and this is how we work. Even this podcast, I told my IT director, look, I want to do a podcast. My IT director told me, Harry, what's that? I say, I don't know. I said, well, I don't know either. Well, what we're gonna do? He told me, okay, give me 3 weeks, and I'll go back to you with something. Let me find out what is that thing, because he came back and he told me, Harry, just press the button. Don't worry about it. We already did the website. The thing is gonna go to all your social media. It's amazing what we're gonna do with this thing. It's all connected. The feeding, unbelievable. And you only use this button, and that's it. And upload the video. Don't worry about the rest. It's all taken care. So that thing is, when you are 5, 6 employees in the company, it's a large operation. Those employees, they have to have like a 360 approach. Now I'm usually with me that, and now in the your company is around 22 employees. It's still, you need a little bit flexibility. You cannot have with 22 employees someone that goes there and tell you this is not my job, because you guys. So how, because in my company, you see the culture that I have and the culture that the company have, when the employees come and they match with that culture, okay, they feel comfortable, they work with me, they like this 360, they want to do the same thing all the time, they love that I come with something strange that they don't have a clue, so they go, they research, they like those challenges, and this is who they are, this is who I am, and match perfectly with the company, and they stay for years. So but your case is different because you have a transition in culture. It's not the same thing, the 5, 6 people that are with you at the beginning, the sweat and tears. Now 22 people, completely different. It's kind of a little bit tricky because they cannot be you need flexibility from them. So how you deal with the challenge and how the transition in culture from having 5 employees to 10 to 22 is the same, right?
Oh, it's different. I think you said it best, right? So the reality is changing as you evolve and you grow, then that's why you need to keep on being agile. You need to keep on learning, but you need to be close to your business and close to your people, right? The only way, and I've done this in a very large multinational where I had hundreds of employees across countries, and then I spent time connecting with people. I found ways to communicate with people. If you want to be able to scale a business, you need to make sure that purpose remains at the heart of what you do, right? People need to be connected with you as a human being, with your weakness and strengths and flaws and vision and purpose. And then if they're connected with the company, its purpose, the leader, its purpose, there's a level of authenticity that builds within the company that creates people wanting to do it, not because they're asked to do it, because they actually feel part of the process, they feel it's important, and you keep that through being communication. I often talk about over communication. A lot of people say you can't, in the corporate world, don't communicate too much, right? They don't need to know. No. We hire smart people. We tell them what they need to know, right? And we need to make sure that they know more than you think they actually need to know, because otherwise they won't be part with they're going to be led by the head and not by the heart. If you want to move people and people want to do great things, you need to make sure that every employee in your corporation is led with the heart, with purpose. And if you can connect with purpose, then that's how you achieve great things. So it doesn't matter the size. As you grow, you need to keep that proximity, authenticity, transparency, communication. These are the keys to maintaining your culture as you scale through the process and find ways to do that.
Fast respond to change. This is something we talk about this subject a lot in the podcast, how fast the companies are can respond to change. I always share with the audience the analogy that there are some companies or corporations out there, right, that they have this structure that they're like a big Titanic, okay? There is huge boat, big Titanic, and then if they see the iceberg in front of them, and you say, "Okay, turn right," then it is so slowly this boat to respond to change. Whether if you have a structure in your company that ride that be this big Titanic or vertical, you have flexibility, leadership, and communication. I think that with leadership and communication, rather than being this big boat, it's going to be like 3,000-liter boat. So you are in the first boat and you said to everybody, turn right. And then the 3,000-liter boats turn right and respond to change uh, really fast, which is key in order to be in business with this AI and the advance of technology. To be in business, you have to very, very respond to change. So, how you are share with the audience how you are dealing with this challenge, and what are the key points that you enhance in the structure of the organization in order to respond to change fast.
Yeah. And by the way, I love that question because this is such an important element in today's business world, right? The world has changed. And I often say this, but if in your company you do things today the same way you did them 5 years ago, you're in big trouble. The world has changed in 5 years. Guess what happened in the world, right? Look at what has happening in the US. Look at like
Oh, we
COVID
had
happened.
COVID,
COVID,
you
all of
name
that.
it.
The whole world has shifted in 5 years. So making sure your organization has built that muscle of transformation. Transformation is not a project, it's not a process. It needs to be part of the DNA of your company. If you want your company to maintain a job, it cannot be something, oh, all of a sudden, and I talk about this quite a bit in my book that you can see here on Avoiding Avalanche, but transformation is not something you do just go and okay, let's go, we're going to transform. It's much broader because it has to start from the DNA, it has to start from the top, and has to be built in your corporation. So if you're in a big corporation, you need to make sure that every leader in your company understands the power of being agile, and how to become agile in a large corporation is make sure the systems and the process are connected in order to have that agility. Compensation plan needs to be aligned. The way we organize our teams need to be aligned. All of those business systems need to be aligned to drive innovation. In a small company, it's relatively easy because it's quick to turn. You not need to make sure you don't turn too often because you're like a chicken with no head running, right? So you need to make sure you stay focused and don't start shifting. But the key to every change is the 5 W's. Why, right? So it's always about asking why, being close, going into your teams, asking what's going on, going externally, asking partners, clients, stakeholders, board members, advisors, making sure you know what's going on in order to be able to change at the right time, because your business can be disrupted in a nanosecond. Like things can happen really fast. So
Absolutely.
if you keep your blinds and you keep going on your track, you might very well die. So that's what I talk about in my book, right? If you're doing something you're not prepared for, you don't get all the information, you can be in really big trouble. So that's why you need to make sure you open your blind, get the information. Data is king. No more cash was king back then. Now it's data that's king. So you need to capture the data in order to put that in the DNA of your company.
And respond to change fast. Remind that I remember when before COVID, one of my companies, we were doing, imagine this, yeah, we were doing events all over the world. We are talking with tens of thousands of people in Peru, Mexico, Dubai. So we were flying, and there were audiences there. You know, you have a little bit of background of music. You feel like you're a rock and roll band. You arrive to a country, the people waiting for you. They put you in a hotel. Then next day you have the gig. Everybody waiting for you. You do your talk. Everybody clapping, photo, picture. Then you go to a hotel. Next day again, and we're doing this. And then COVID happened. I'm like, what? So how are we gonna continue to do this business? It's totally disrupted. And my brother just spoke with him, and he has a business selling home decoration items, and they have a large warehouse in Spain. And he talked to me today. He told me, Harry, you're not gonna believe. I said, you're not gonna believe what? I said, look, it was a fire. And you didn't hear the news? No, I didn't hear the news. Well, it was a fire in in Spain, and it was like the wind, because it wasn't a storm, brought the fire 6 kilometers. Long story short, it only reached 200 meters from our warehouse. He told me almost what it was only 200 meters short for the whole warehouse got on fire. I'm like, And I was laughing with him. I said, man, that's this all you for this to happen to you, all you have to be is in business. So being in business, be ready for things like this because they're coming at you and more often than what you even think. How likely is that in a storm 6 kilometers away because the wind brought the fire? Oh, he said, no, I said, it's even worse. I couldn't even reach because the fire brigade closed the whole thing, for safety. And I couldn't even go inside too. That was funny.
Oh my
So
God.
then, Dominic, so the structure has to be in CEO. You are responsible for everything, right? So some structure has to be in place. So if change happen and happen fast, right? They number one, the people shouldn't be panicked. Yeah, not the CEO, no, but if the structure is in place, I'm aware that if the change come fast, the speed that the company can react is gonna determine to success because this field that you are is very competitive. So let's talk about product market fit, how you make yourself different in a so competitive industry where it's so expensive and challenging to get market share like the share industry.
Yeah, so and there are a few keys in my opinion on how we and why we are successful and how we will continue to be successful. But one of the things is it's on everybody's mind, but the use of AI to drive business is only something that companies need to do. It's mandatory and it's vital for their success. So how you embed technology and companies are like, yeah, but I don't really like that. I'm a bit afraid. I don't know. We're not really there yet. We're still old school. Yeah, but the problem with AI is that the curve and the speed of integration is exponential. So every minute you do not invest in an artificial intelligence is minutes that will never come back and in exponential minutes that make you lose ground against your competitors. So that's why I like the number one thing is invest in technology, invest in AI, and figure out how it will propel your business. So one of the key things for us at NexWav is where we've done more in 6 months than I would have done in any other companies in 10 years. I've hired geniuses in AI. We have one head of AI. The guy is like he's the smartest man I've met. He's a young kid, graduated with a master's degree in AI. The guy he's a genius, right? And then he can make up stuff, he can build stuff, he can go quick. And as we're small, it's easy to build, right? So we're building extremely fast. We've already done probably 90% of the automation we wanted to do, and we've done it in just a few months. And now we're already starting to build on predictive models, adding genetic AI, right? So all of that is being embedded in our business in order to scale fast. And of course, for us, it's all about market knowledge, data, specialization, but true partnerships, right? If you are in a business that remains in the supplier mindset, you're never going to make it. That's my other book, by the way. If you want to read about this, that's what I talk about is how do you build strategic partnerships is you can stay as a supplier and be a product for a customer, or you can become a strategic partner to their growth, right? In sales and any business wants to succeed. One of the things I've always talked about, and that's what I talk about with all my clients, is how do we position ourselves within your organization to help you reach your objective, to see if we are a good partner. Too much time is spent on sales and sales training and giving sales training that I find ridiculous. They're all talking about you got to find your customers' buying motives. You got to lead them through the funnel. All of that is wrong. That's the wrong purpose of being a salesperson because that's meaning you're leading them to your objective. What you need to do is lead them to support their objective. And if you want to do that, then you need to be a good partner through asking the questions. What are you trying to do? What's your objective? What's your business objective? And to figure out how you can support that objective through growth. That's how we are not just a recruiting firm. We're not just placing bodies. We do executive consulting. We do board coaching. We do pipelining. We do workforce planning. We help customers. We do executive recruitment. We work with private equity firms on building their executive teams for their companies. We do professional recruitment. We do all of that combined with customers with their talent ecosystem. So that's how we differentiate, is being a true partner. You talked about 360. That's our model. How can we be a good 360 model partner with organizations? So this is what I love to talk about, by the way. So I love the chat.
Yeah, and you see, 360. I remember when I had my business, they were checking out, and I'm going one day. I said, "Look, guys, it was in London. They were very young. In Europe, when the young people finish university, there is a tendency to send them to London so they learn English, and so I'm asking them to clients from the rooms, and guys, where you living? And they say, well, the problem is that the English school is too expensive and we're not lending that much, so we need to come back to our country. Our parents spending too much money. And I'm thinking, then I go to another person telling me the same thing, and I'm thinking, wow, the reason that they are leaving is just because this English school is expensive and they're not lending that much. You know what? I go to the English school myself, so probably I'm being the person in the planet that own an English school without speaking English. So, and people were telling me, how are you crazy? You don't speak English. You make hundreds of grammar mistakes. How come you're going to open an English school? I said, well, I don't need to speak. The teacher, we have British teacher, blonde, blue eyes, the amazing and the native. And we do some English teachers, and we put an affordable price. And something might happen, Dominic, talking about the 360. Number one, the clients from the room, they stay longer, which is in mind. If you rent a room in London, 600 to 800 pounds a month, and these clients stay a 6 month, the cost of customer acquisition is reduced considerable. And then the people that from the street, young people, go to the school because it had good price. Guess what happened? As soon as the school was in one room and the office was next to it, and it was separated by the hall. So as soon as the class finished, all my people from the room, they were telling to everybody, guys, where are you living now? Do you want to switch from the rooms that the school? And then we open a career advice as well, because they say, well, now we some job, our parents cannot pay. I said, well, how if we do the CV for you, and so then you find jobs so you don't go. So then again, we managed to have a template for CVs, and the guys, they speak very little English. Still, we know what to write, and they were hiding them straight away in the restaurants and everything, right? They don't need for you to speak such a good English if you want to do, like kitchen porter, or you want to be a runner for a restaurant. You just need to take the place and everything. And these guys, they're young. They will do whatever it takes just to stay longer in London so they can learn more English. I have a little bit of fun and party a little bit with other parents, after finish university. So they were doing whatever it takes to make it longer. So then, now the question is this one, 360, yeah? What advice do you have for the entrepreneurs that take all the money, time, and effort, and they do exactly like you described? They go there, they do marketing, they do funnel, and they put all the money, time, and energy just to bring in strangers to the business, okay, that don't know you, don't have a relationship with you. And then when you sit in a gold mine, which is develop a relationship with the clients and open another product that your client does, when they have a relationship with you and they know that you deliver a good product, open alternative things and nurture them, yeah, could be even more beneficial, because I remember a lot of clients, we have it for referral. We don't even need to pay for it, because the people will bring in their friend, the family, the cousins. Oh, look, let's go with this guy. They had the English school, they had the room, they had you to think. I do that, and it's amazing. So now they're bringing you friends, and now all of the sudden, the room that was a problem with vacancy, all of the sudden we are full all the time. And then marketing costs zero. So if I give you $100, Dominic, how much money you will take to bring strangers or new clients to your company, and how much of this $100 you will invest in developing and nurture the relationship with your existing client and open new avenues where they can purchase more products or from you, which is 360. We give you more, diminish the risk. So the question is like this with an analogy of $100. So CEOs, entrepreneurs listening in the podcast have an idea how to manage the budget, because some of them, I think they're not doing it effectively. Yeah.
Yeah, and often we don't, right? Very often we don't. And that's a very interesting question you asked me. I like the 80-20 rule, right? But like in all the studies, doesn't matter where you look, it's a 10 to 15 times more costly to go get a new client than to take care of an actual client and make sure you grow within your customer. So it's always an 80-20 rule. However, it also depends on the persona of your customer, because if that persona of that customer is very small, right? You can help them grow, but there's a limit on how much you're going to do. So that's why being agile and being able to pivot based on, okay, here we're delivering 80% of the value we possibly can, go get new, right? If you're spending $80 on your 100 to protect that client, make sure that $20 to go get new is well invested, but also be agile, because you might have to switch, because if the value here is already created, you got to pivot that money to go get new ones, because otherwise you won't be sustainable in growth. So that's why it's always about that agility, but always starts from your customer and from the value you're creating. Remember, it's that 80-20 rule. It always works, always will.
If you treat amazing your clients, you have a business, right? They will keep coming and they will bring you people. So you have to do it anyway. You have to do the
Exactly.
thing anyway. You need to treat them amazing, otherwise you're not gonna have a business.
There you go.
So develop and answer what they need. How can you do the service better, and build an honest win-win with them, and we get you far. I mean, this is at our core. We're still doing it, by the way, in different pros and services. But every time that we go into something, there are we have clients that keep buying from us when we launch something new, and they don't even, they've been buying for years, and they already know that, wow, they're launching something amazing, and I want to be part of it, and like this. So the good when you have this relationship with clients, they become like part of the family. It's amazing, and they bring you a lot of business because they also want to help.
That's
they
it.
they believe what you believe. They're happy with the service, and they also want to help other people that they know. So Dom, if somebody's in love with our conversation, can you please tell them when to find you, how this process work, if they want to buy a snowboard? I have a friend in Sweden, and one day I went to see him, and he told me I stay in his house. We went to a music concert, yeah, in Sweden, and then in the morning he said, okay, let's breakfast, and let's do snowboarding. I said, okay, where? And he told me in the corner. I said, what do you mean right in the corner? Yeah, in Sweden, 100 meters, you had and then I was in the middle of Sweden doing snowboarding, and I had a lot of fun. I love it. I know how to ski, and definitely in Sweden, I learned how to do snowboarding. So, Dom, if people want to find you, they want to have a look your business for a snowboard, or they want to know about the HR company, or they want to put your books in Amazon. Can you please tell, because remember, some people are listening in the car, so can you share vocally the name of your books, the titles, and people can find you in LinkedIn and things like this, so for also the people that they're listening?
Yeah, so let's start with my book. So the first one is The Wave Model, a guide for successful strategic partnerships. So just make sure that you check it out. It's on Amazon, amazon.com. Just type Dominic Levesque, which is my name, Dominic Levesque, the way you said it. Just type it on Amazon, and then you'll find my two books. The other one is Avoiding Avalanche and Big Mountain Adventures. So you can just on Amazon. It's already bestseller in the US. Very proud of that. So come check it out. It's It's on, I think, on ebook and on Kindle and on paper, so you can buy it the way you prefer. My company's NexWav. You can find it nexwav.com, nexwav.com. Very simple. That's my HR company. My snowboard company is NTTB snowboards.com. Very simple. NTTB snowboards.com. Find us there. You'll see the products. You'll see the gear. You'll see all the clothing. And then if you want to find me, connect on LinkedIn. Very simple. Come on LinkedIn, Dom Levesque, Dominic Levesque. You'll find me on Instagram, on Facebook. I'll be happy to connect and continue that discussion. Thank you for having me, Harry. That was a whole lot of fun.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I think you're amazing and you're going to do so well. Yeah, remember, respond to change fast. Yeah. And for all of you following the broadcast, see you in our next episode of Unstoppable. How brave entrepreneurs like don't break that wall and achieve the first million. Bye for now.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.